Hello, today I'm joined with Sarah Damani, Virtual Assistant Hub Manager at Alchemy Virtual Assistance.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. And so to start with my first question, what inspired you to become a virtual assistant?
It's not actually probably where you think it might be. I was at the park with the kids and I was trying to help them on the play equipment, and I realised that my fitness levels and strength were terrible. I could barely even support my own body weight, let alone support the kids to sort of get on the play equipment. So I thought I need to do something about this. I really need to tackle my fitness levels. So I found a class that fit in with the family, which just happened to be a 6 a.m. because I thought that's great. I can get out of bed, go down, do my fitness before the families even woke up. And then by the time I get back, get them ready and get them off to school. So I started doing this thing called CrossFit, which I'd never even heard about, didn't have a clue what it entailed, but the timing was great. 2 years on, I'm absolutely loving CrossFit. I've stuck to it. It's the only fitness thing that I'd ever actually managed to stick to. And I realised, I've become quite motivated, quite self-motivated, quite committed, quite dedicated. And alongside that, I've always done sort of personal development. And I knew how important, mental toughness can be and your mindset. Driving along and I went past the fire station and I saw that they were recruiting for on-call firefighters. A friend of mine was already doing that with them, and I thought, well, there's my next challenge. So I thought, well, I love pushing myself out of my comfort zone. We don't say that actually at Alchemy. We like to say pushing ourselves into the adventure zone. So I love a challenge. I thought, well, if I can do that, great. So I went along for the fitness assessment and I got through. About a year on, I've done all the training and I'd passed, and I thought, you know what, I'm actually quite a gritty person, and Grit by Angela Duckworth is actually one of my favourite books, and it really is so important, the mindset that we can adopt. Alongside all of this, I was working as a business advisor at Semlep's Growth Hub, and I'd always been massively inspired by the clients that I was meeting. They were so entrepreneurial, and the passion and the spark when we were meeting and talking, just there was a little voice in my back of my head sort of saying, well, if they can do it, then why not me? Along that journey, I met Susie, and I was so inspired and impressed by her and her approach and her business. And she was looking at sort of developing a franchise model at that point. And I just thought, this is it. I've always wanted my own business. I've never known what I wanted to do. It seemed like the next logical step in terms of I was a business advisor and I was working with clients to learn and understand what their challenges were and helping them put a bit of a plan in place. And as a virtual assistant, I could now actually help them to put that plan in place and to implement it. It was also a great time for me. I don't think the time it's ever right, if we can always find a reason why it's not right, but for me it was a good time because my youngest son Reese was just about to start school, and that was kind of my line in the sand. Once he's gone to school, I'm going to free up a bit of my time because I was working part-time. And the overall sort of growing reputation and professionalism of the VA industry was just so impressive to me. You can have so many diverse virtual assistants with all different backgrounds and skill sets. And obviously with COVID happening, we've now demonstrated that we can all work remotely. So yeah, for me, that was really why I sort of decided and was inspired to become a virtual assistant.
You touched upon it a little bit. So how did you secure your job?
So ultimately, it's not a job. Essentially, it's my own business as a franchisee. Under the Alchemy brand. I was really proud to become the first franchisee because there's now many more hub managers in the team. As I said, I'd always wanted my own business. I just didn't know entirely what I wanted to do. And the great thing about a franchise is that you're not by yourself. You've got a team around you. You've got a head office there for their support. We're not in competition with one another either. In fact, we actively pass business to one another between the hubs, especially like where someone else might be best placed to support a client with their specific challenges or the activities and tasks that they want us to do. absolutely love the Alchemy brand, you know, the ethos, the values that Susie, the founder, has. And like I said, we'd worked together quite closely through my previous role. So I knew that we got on really well and we shared a lot of the same values.
It's amazing that you were the first franchise.
Yeah, it was a really great, exciting opportunity for me. And it kind of sort of sped things up for me as well, because I was just really excited to be the first.
Sounds like you've had a great support system. So that leads me on to my next question. What has been your biggest challenge and how have you overcome this?
I think initially, like many people starting out their own business, the biggest sort of fears that you have are, am I going to be able to attract customers? Am I going to be able to convert prospects? Am I going to be able to retain clients? Will they trust me with their business because they've been working by themselves? A lot of these are just one-man bands, and to outsource things just feels really alien, and you've got to let go of things. So it's not for everyone. I think also challenge, well, haven't we all been through it? Setting up a business just before a global pandemic. Although I was joking with my auntie the other day because she was saying, "I'll trust you, Sarah, to start up a virtual remote business just as a global pandemic hits, where everyone's now got to be home working and you create loads of opportunities for yourself." I think other challenges have to be working from home. Although it's great to work from home, it gives you that flexibility. It's also really hard to strike up that balance. And, you know, I think we're all guilty when we first start our own business. It's the only thing you can think about, especially at the start when I was sort of balancing a job alongside retained firefighting and starting and growing a business. Throw into that mix the homeschooling challenge that so many of us have had to face. I think overcoming it has been made a lot easier, again, by being part of a franchise. I'm not alone. There's always a wider network, a wider support network. We have a huge structured sort of training program, ongoing mentoring opportunities. I have a monthly mentoring meeting with Susie every month just to look at specific hub challenges, specific personal challenges, working on myself, working on my mindset. I think the other thing that's given me great opportunity is growing the team. By growing the team, I can relieve the sort of workload on myself. I can then be freer to sort of go out and look for new opportunities, new clients. And it also introduces new skill sets, so new services that we can add to the existing clients that we've got.
And I bet having a mentor is so useful.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just someone like a bit of a sounding board. The main thing that I found as a business advisor was that small business owners were coming to me with challenges that they already knew the answers to. They just needed someone to hold them accountable. And that's what's great about having a mentor, because you have someone that can really hold you accountable to your objectives, to your dreams, to your goals.
So leading off of that, what have been your biggest highlights over the past year?
Oh, such a good question. There's so many to mention. I think first and foremost, it's got to be giving opportunities to other mums like myself, because there's just not the flexible working opportunities for us out there in the corporate world. And it's just great as well, because when you're in your own business, if you were by yourself, it could be quite lonely. So having a team around you is great to keep you going, keep you motivated, keep you on track. And at times, I hold my hands up. It's been really challenging the past year, and they've really helped to keep the head screwed on. Other than that, being a finalist in the PA Life Awards, that was an amazing, really unexpected achievement for me. Creating our own office space. So I renovated this office space that I'm in now. It was just essentially, it was a shed in my garden. And I just sort of looked at it one day and I thought, that's a really waste of space. I was just storing all the kids' toys in here. And I thought this could be a great office space. And yeah, we were actually going to wait until sort of January, February to start renovating it. And back obviously when the sort of pandemic hit, I just thought, no, now let's do it now. We need this space now. So we started around October, I think, and it was done in sort of a matter of 4 to 6 weeks, completely kitted out, electrics put in. So that's really exciting to have our own space, and it's just such a nice space. It's really conducive to sort of a working environment. It just feels so premium and great that I'm not going to have to worry about that for future. I think as a small business owner, you always need to be thinking like a little bit ahead, like what are the next steps, and sort of future-proofing your business. So we've got a space here that we can grow into. I can fit about 6 desks in here.
Oh, wow.
Even my job has to be a massive highlight. I didn't think I was going to be able to do that so quickly. And joining the local chamber as well, I would put as one of my highlights, because the local Northamptonshire chamber here, headed up by Sunny Singh, is just amazing. It's such a great space. It's so important. It's such an important part of the business community, and I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for us to raise our platform on a sort of a regional scale. And of course, I've got to mention that being part of the Alchemy family has to be a massive highlight for me. It's just been the best decision I could have ever made.
Your office looks amazing. And I bet it helps with the home and like work balance at the moment, because the lines are blurring. So it's nice that you have your own space that you can separate.
Absolutely. And the kids love it as well. They love coming out here. I think it sort of gets them into that mentality a little bit. You sort of step into the space and it's like, this is a work environment. And they come in here, you know, when they can use the desk space. So again, it's just important for them to have that space, and they'll have it, you know, for the future when they get a bit older and can hopefully do their work by themselves.
Oh wow, you really are planning ahead.
we can hope.
Oh, thank you so much. I think I've got one final question. What advice do you have for your fellow virtual assistants?
I think for me, anyone who's out there working as a virtual assistant already, or perhaps you're thinking about being a virtual assistant, the most important thing for me is mindset. You have got to develop unwavering self-belief. You have got to be in the right place mentally in your head, because if you think you're not good enough, then your clients will pick up on that and they won't think you're good enough. To start with, I wasn't sure. I really didn't know how this was going to go. I didn't know if I was going to be able to attract and retain clients. I didn't know if I was going to have the right skills. I didn't really know how this was all going to roll out, but I borrowed Susie's belief. And again, the beauty of being part of a franchise and having that mentor in Susie. I like to say I borrowed her belief, and I think she quite likes that as well. Franchises aren't for everyone, but for me, it was definitely the right decision, for all the reasons that I've already sort of discussed. I think as well, it's really encouraging to any VAs out there that remote working is just becoming the norm. More and more people are outsourcing, and there's so many opportunities. And like I sort of briefly touched on, we're not in competition with one another, because we've all got such different backgrounds and such different skill sets. And there's so many clients out there that need different support with absolutely everything. There isn't really much you can't outsource to a virtual assistant.
Yeah, it's such a lovely industry, isn't it, where everyone does support each other and promote what everyone else can do and bring.
Yeah, absolutely, Hayley. And I think, you know, that is driven intrinsically by you guys at PA Life as well. So thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. And thank you so much for speaking with me today. It's been lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. You're more than welcome. Thank you.